Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today is another solo episode. Today I'm going to be telling you all a story time, probably one of the most stressful times in my entire working career. Is when I shot two projects in 1 week. Now, I'm going to talk about my series Newlyweds again. I will always talk about that because I feel like that project up until now has been the most intense and the longest project I've worked on, and I'm so excited for everybody to see it once it eventually comes out because I learned so much about myself and the industry while making it. So I'm taking you back to October, the first week of October in 2021. As you all know, I'm also a freelance producer, and up until recently, I did have a full time job at a TV network. And so in the first week of October, it was unintentionally scheduled that I would be shooting a sci fi short film called Cycle, which is by the writer director Joelle May David, who also has a production company called Bluebird Pictures, who I also do freelance producing work for. And I also ended up shooting my web series Newlyweds the same week. And so it wasn't intentional, it just kind of happened due to scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. I originally was supposed to shoot Newlyweds in September 2021, but due to the availability of my DOP and also with the availability of the sun, because it was getting to winter and the theme and the look and the visual aesthetic of Newlyweds is that it's set in the summer, it's light and bright and beautiful, and we really wanted to make sure that London was just represented in a nicer way instead of looking dreary and grey and wet or windy and foggy, which everyone kind of associates Britain for. And so we had a limited time to really kind of capture that sun, and we wanted to make sure that we shot before the clocks went back. So yeah, we had to kind of make sure that it was done before mid October. And so due to scheduling conflicts, I had to shoot everything in 1 week. And it was very, very stressful. Very, very stressful because having to deal with two productions and I'm the only producer, and it was a lot, especially when you're working with DOPs or crew who just, yeah, they have no real consideration for your time. And this episode kind of piggybacks upon my episode The Good, the Bad and the Ugly of Independent Filmmaking, because when you're working a job and it's independent and it's small to low budget, you have to deal with a lot, and it's like, you know what, this isn't worth the stress. Like, I'm not even being paid enough for this crap. Like, yes, the end result is amazing and you can look back and feel like, yeah, I did that. But in that moment, no, you're not thinking that. Because let me tell you, I'm not a violent person, but I was very, very close to wanting to start swinging on somebody. If somebody said something wrong, okay, if somebody talked to me sideways, I don't know, I might have been like Will Smith at the Oscars. Somebody would have got smacked. I'm serious, okay? And I'm telling you, it was so stressful because when you are an independent filmmaker and you're speaking to your crew and you're asking them specifically for, especially let's say for the cinematographer, you're asking them what crew they want to work with. Will we need a first, second, or third AC? Will we need a camera trainee? Will we need a clapper person? Because you have to outline all of the shot lists, what the director wants and what the DOP wants. And so it's my job to facilitate that and get that done. If I don't know the information, I'm assuming, okay, cool, you don't need that. And if I've asked you that and you haven't, and I've consistently asked you that, and I worked with my production assistant on Cycle to make sure that the DOP did that, she didn't want to do it. She was so busy that she was forgetting. And it's like, there's only so many times I can consistently, or my team, or the people are my assistants can ask you that without us just assuming that, okay, cool, you don't need it because you said you were fine, and then you're saying things literally last minute the day before, and that's what made the production go over budget. So I was stressed. Okay, this was like 24 hours before. And then on Newlyweds, I had literally the DOP telling me that he could get a certain lens kit and it would be fine. And I was like, okay, amazing. He's got in with all these kit houses. Silence. That's what it was. Silence. None of that came through, and I couldn't get anybody. And then when I was trying to get the lenses that he needed from kit houses, they wanted this crazy deposit, and I'm like, I don't have this money. And it's like, this is the stress. This is the stuff what you put up with, and it's so frustrating because you try to be organized and you try to plan, and something always goes wrong. So it's like I was being pulled in so many different directions, and it was mad. So the day of filming comes, and I was like, for Cycle, that was on the Tuesday, and Newlyweds was on the weekend. So I was like, yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, chaos ensued because I needed to get food to pick up for my cast and crew. You know, my friend who's a vegan chef, she did all the vegan dishes and she came and dropped it off. Amazing. And then the ones for the meat eaters, the caterer lived in South London. We were shooting in Barking, which is essentially Essex, and so we needed to get a cab to pick up the food and bring it here. But then it was during the period where all these cab services just were doing a madness, and it would take like half an hour just to get a cab to go and get the food, and then it would take like an hour and a half to get to where we were, and it was just so stressful. Couldn't get people to eat, then the drive wasn't working, then we had to go back and forth because the weather wasn't accommodating properly, and then also the location was too tight, and then we couldn't get everybody in to be able to shoot the film because it was set in the laundry, but then there was not a place where people could actually chill and get changed and or just relax before they have to go out for the scene, for example, for the actors. It was just a mess, and I did not enjoy it at all. Okay, it was horrible, and it was so stressful, and I don't know how we pulled it off, but we did. And you know what's so funny is that even till now, 6 months after we shot it, we're still going through many stuff because it's gone so over budget. And I think the issue was that I don't think myself and the director were on the same page. Not in a bad way, but just because we had only a £3,000 budget. So I was thinking that essentially we would be able to shoot it in a certain way. So I budgeted for a 3,000 shoot. But then when it came down to the visual aspects of it, it was no way near the budget that we had. And we weren't really on the same page here. And that's what really kind of affected the production. I feel like if there were more conversations, or if we just kind of were on the same page, and I feel like we wouldn't have had the issues that we have had, because it's gone over budget, over thousands of pounds to pay extra crew for the editor to do their work, to get sound design, grading. And in my opinion, when you have a low budget production, you have to find, for example, an editor who can do all three. We don't have time to hire an editor, then do someone to do sound design, and then do somebody for grading. That's just too much additional money. You know, we need to find somebody who is good at all three things. That's how you cut back on the budget. And we just weren't able to achieve that. So now we're still kind of going through that. And that's where I just feel like when you have a team of people, you have to be on the same page, and the communication has to be great, because I thought we were, but clearly we weren't. So that was Tuesday, and then on the weekends it was Newlyweds, so that was Saturday and Sunday. And you know what, surprisingly, that shoot went so much better. It was so much better. It was good vibes, everyone had a good time, we got everything done efficiently and well done. I mean, there was some dramas here and there, but it didn't affect the shoot. And surprisingly, that ended up being the easiest shoot. And I was really surprised because I was not looking forward to it, in the aspect of that I just felt like, okay, we're going to have round 2 of what I just dealt with earlier in the week, and it didn't happen, and I was really happy about that. And so yeah, so I mean, God doesn't give you anything you can't handle, and it is so true. But that being said, I pray that I don't have to do that again, because leading up to that shoot week, it was so stressful. And I remember I was so mad that I was so mad that I felt like I could explode at any minute. And it's harder because, especially when it's your own personal project and you've put in so much time and effort into something, it really it really can affect you, because it's like your child, it's like your baby, and you just want to make sure it does so well. And so when people aren't being cooperative, or they're not doing their job, that is that can hurt, because you're just trying to make sure you pull this off great, and you just want everyone to be on the same page and it runs smoothly. And yeah, but so hopefully, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. As usual, you can follow me on my usual socials at Kashif Booth, or Kashif Booth Entertainment, or the Kashif Booth Podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes coming soon.